You're gonna have the magical set! Whoa! Oh! Set 2! Eldritch! How will I ever defeat it? Alright, yo, that's a nice little back row you got there. It'd be a real shame if somebody popped it. Some little protection effects, don't mind me. Yo, show what you are, come on. What deck you playing, bro? Show me what you playing. Waboku! So much burn! It's gonna be a sad day for you. Ring of Destruction. Ah, can't target, loser! You're gonna set more back row? Bro, do you not learn? Oh, you're setting the works! Oh my god, this is beautiful. I summon Elegant Egotist. Oh, I don't think you're surviving this one, bro. A little bit of too many back row pops, huh? How you getting out of this one, partner? Cause it ain't looking good. Goodbye. Hello. One more. Barrier statue, get your licks in. Easiest game of my life. Back row. This deck makes back row cry. Harpies, an archetype dating back all the way to Season 1 and an absolute powerhouse of a deck. My Valentine wasn't sleeping on this deck because this deck has become so strong throughout the years, and it is actually a destructive power force that, especially in the best of one format, can just absolutely annihilate the meta. Harpies have a lot of potential to just destroy a lot of decks because of how easily they could get out Barrier Statue. Not only that, being able to run one of the strongest floodgates in the game that is activatable from hand, that just blanket negates and says no to your opponent, is absolutely absurd. This deck has gotten so much love and support throughout the years, and it's a deck that's just an inch away from being a real tier 2 contender. Harpies are one of those decks that have always been lingering just below the tier 2 border, and they're a deck that's always really thrived in a best of one format. Their biggest struggles come from when people could side deck against Harpies, but in a best of one, Harpies are absolutely pretty disgusting. A notable downside of Harpies is that we haven't gotten the new retrain of Harpie's Pet Dragon. Harpie's Pet Dragon Fire Blast. This card is gonna absolutely break this game when it comes out, especially if they don't ban Simorgh by the time this card's out. Even without Simorgh, this deck will survive, but if we get both of these cards in unison, this deck just annihilates. Being able to super easily set up a Barrier Statue lock with Simorgh on turn 1, and also having one of the best floodgate effects in the game, an activatable from hand card that just blanket negates all monster effects for the entire turn, making you free from hand traps, on-field effect, graveyard effects, banished effects. Harpies are just a disgusting powerhouse of good support cards. So I'm gonna get into deck profile, show off one of my absolute favorite decks, and something that's a real meta stomper in a fun meme style way. This deck can honestly go up toe to toe against decks like Eldritch Striker and Tri-Brigade if you draw well enough. I will say, if you don't draw the Floodgate, Drytron is obviously going to be the biggest issue, but who doesn't struggle against Drytron? Like, let's be honest. Caw, caw, Harpie, bird call. What's that? You skipped to the timestamp? Well, how about you drop a like and subscribe now? Thank you for the little interruption. Let's get into the actual deck profile. Let's get in this deck profile anyways. So kicking off this deck profile, the biggest downside is that we do need to run the Rogue List hand trap lineup. What I do for this is I run 3 hand traps at 2 because it's better with Maxi to run a variety of hand traps than a lot. I really wish I could run 3 Maxi, but I run 2 Maxi, 2 Ash Blossom, and 2 Infinite Impermanence, just so our Maxi draws us into more disruption so we don't get full comboed if we do see it. It's a shame we can't run it at 3. Then I run 3 copies of Harpie Lady 1. This doesn't have to be Hyper Lady 1. This could be any card that is named Harpie Lady. So you could run cards like Cyber Harpie Lady 2, 3, or just the original vanilla one. Harpie Lady 1 just offers a nice attack boost, and it'll come up every so often for you to be able to attack over over things, so she's just my favorite, but feel free to pick any card that's always treated as Harpie Lady. Then I run one copy of Barrier Statue of the Stormwinds. This is typically your end board on turn 1. It'll just lock your opponents out of OTKing you and protect your Simorgh, which is going to give you tons of card advantage. Then we run one copy of Harpie Queen just to be able to easily search out the Harpie's hunting ground. I consider cutting this for a 3rd max C, but again, seeing a normal summon Harpie is so important in your opening hand. Then 3 copies of Harpie Channeler. It is the weakest of the good Harpie support because she discards for cost and is easily disruptible, but again, just hard draw the Featherstorm and you're not going to be worrying about hand traps anyways. Then we run Harpie Harpist. This is the best discard fodder in the deck and going to get even better when the new Harpie support comes out, but this card just if discarded lets you search a Harpie, so just a free discard. A copy of Harpie Perfumer. Harpie Perfumer searches any card that specifically mentions the Harpie Lady sisters in their text, meaning it searches cards like Elegant Egotist. And in the Harpie theme, if you control a level 5 or higher Harpie, it will draw 2, but typically that won't come up very often. Elegant Egotist, a free special summon from the deck, is super consistently can get it out because of all the ways you can search for it, and is just a super easy way into making Simorgh. Then we run Harpie's Feather Duster. A lot of people forget, this is Harpie Lady support. This is a Harpie Lady support card, which means it is searchable through certain effects in Archetype. This card is absolutely nuts and synergizes really well with the deck, and with so much Eldritch running around, why wouldn't you be running Duster? Harpie's Feather Rest. This is Feather Duster, but a lot more easily searchable. It just lets you pop a bunch of back row because you will be summoning tons of Harpie Ladies every single turn. The only downside is it is a mandatory effect, so if you run out of things on your opponent's side of the field to pop, you will have to destroy itself. It does also synergize with destroying Hysteric Sign. If you don't need to activate it to get that Elegant Egotist, you could just set Sign face down, pop it with the Hunting Ground, and you will get the effect to search 3 cards, including the Floodgate. Then we run 3 copies of Hysteric Sign. This basically just says search Elegant Egotist 80% of the time, but if this card is destroyed on a different turn from when that effect is activated, you get to search any 3 cards that mention Harpie at all. So this searches everything in Archetype. Then 2 copies of Swallow's Nest. This is just a strong card if you draw one of the Harpie Ladies that aren't very desirable in your opening hand, like Harpie Lady 1 or Harpie Queen. You could simply trade them out for Harpie Perfumer with this. This also allows your Harpie Perfumer to play around cards like Infinite Impermanence, Dogmatic of Punishment, and is a quick play spell, so you could just do it for an extra burst of damage when you're going for lethal. Then we run 1 copy of the Harpie Oracle. Harpie Oracle is honestly one of the weakest cards in the deck, but she could special her summon herself on rare occasion and just allows you to re-grab Elegant Egotist from the graveyard, because we do have ways to shuffle Harpie Lady 1 back. Then we run Harpie's Feather Rest. Harpie's Feather Rest, again, really good because it is searchable. It is Pot of Avarice, but worse most of the time unless you control a level 5 or higher Harpie. Then it'll let you draw 2, but it's just a really consistent way to put back Harpie Lady 1. Then we run Double or Nothing. Double Nothing is great because you pump out level 4 so easily that especially if you go second, it can easily catch your opponent with a surprise and hit them with a Utopia double lethal. Then we run 2 copies of Called by the Grave. Disruption can hit you really hard with certain choke points in the deck, cards like Harpie Channeler. So being able to run 5 copies of Called by the Grave is absolutely ridiculous because Harpie's Featherstorm, yet again, the soul and blood of the archetype. Then we run 3 copies of Harpie's Featherstorm. The ultimate floodgate to end all floodgates. This stops any monster effect, doesn't matter where. Hand, field, graveyard, banish zone, all get stopped for the entirety of the turn, from the start phase to the end phase. It's like a miscellaneous doors on steroids. This card is even activatable from hand. This becomes a hand trap if you control a Harpie monster, and lo and behold, we're playing Harpies. But you will have to set it if you end the board with just Winged Beasts, so for example on the Simorgh, but that's not a downside because if your opponent tries to destroy this card, you just chain it, still get the effect, and then it will search Feather Duster from the deck. Absolutely insane. 2 copies of Imperm because it is searchable with the Trap Trick, and 2 copies of Trap Trick because it allows us to bring out Harpie Featherstorm because this is a normal trap. So again, we run 5 copies of Harpie's Featherstorm. Then for the extra deck, we run 2 copies of Cyber / Harpie Lady. You really only need one. You typically don't find a situation where you need to summon two, but it is just an insanely good support card printed for the archetype, and might as well run a powerhouse of a card that synergizes with your Harpie effects that let you get a bonus effect, and it is a free monster bounce. Then we run a copy of S39 Utopia to go with the Utopia double, just for those cheesy OTKs, because how easily we get out level 4s. Lightning Chidori! This is Nightmare Unicorn without the discard cost, and it spins 2 cards. It allows you to spin 1 set card and 1 face-up card on the same turn, and that is just ridiculous. Spinning is one of the strongest effects in Yu-Gi-Oh!, and being able to spin 2 is absurd. We run 1 copy of Ice Beam Seraphine in case we need to nuke all the effects on the field. This is not a quick play effect, but sometimes you just need to mass negate the field to get rid of some annoying effects, and Seraphine will come up with this, again, being insanely strong because it requires Winged Beast. You run 2 copies of Harpie's Pet Phantasmal Dragon. This is a worse option to go into than Simorgh, but it is just an insanely annoying card to deal with, can attack directly, makes it so your Harpies can't be targeted for attacks or anything really, so it's just a really insanely hard wall to deal with that last 3 turns. 1 copy of Silent Monarch, just again because we could dump out level 4s. This isn't necessary, it's just for dealing with tricky extra deck monsters. 1 copy of Baguska. This one probably comes up the least, but again, if you ever need to play defensive. 1 copy of Zeus, because you make so many EXZ monsters with the deck so easily that you might as well be running Zeus, because this is one of the strongest cards in the game. 1 copy of Harpie Conductor. This is just an easy way to out your barrier statue of the Stormwind if you really need to, but Conductor really never comes up. You should never be making this card. 1 copy of Wind Charmer. Again, this rarely ever comes up, but again, if you could run a Wind Charmer in your deck, you might as well just do it. Then we run 1 copy of Simorgh. This is the best extra deck card and what you typically hope to end on turn 1 every time. This card is absolutely insane. And Access Code, once again, not at all necessary, but it is a nice option to have just to close out those annoying games. Harpies in Platinum. This deck is just so stupidly strong. Like, again, this Harpies... Ooh, going first. Harpies could be a meta deck with just a little more help. Just like, there's every archetype could be meta if they get like an insane card that's absolutely ridiculous. But oh my god, this is full combo. Okay, so this is disgusting, and we finally get to show off the Harpie's Feather Storm, and we have a second one in hand. So while it sucks that we hard drew a Harpie Lady 1, this is completely fine, because we do have ways to shuffle them back. So even if our opponent try to hand trap us now, we just play the Storm from hand. And the Storm basically says, no monsters. We are going to proceed to set the Storm, especially going first though, because it's going to allow us to... Let's go for a little Simorgh lock. It's going to allow us to... If your opponent decides to MST it at the start of the turn, it's just going to search as Duster. Because this card has a second effect that if it's destroyed only by your opponent, sadly, you do get Duster. So we have 2 of these. This could also alternatively be an Impermanence if they force us into using it, but I don't think that's going to happen. So we're going to go ahead and end phase here, activate Simorgh, set up that barrier statue lock. So already, if it's Ignisters or Cyber Dragons, we already won. And even if it's something like Eldritch and they didn't draw the Golden Lord in their opening hand and they have to summon it off something, like, it's not going to work. This kills Sanguine and Black Elixir. Like, it's so powerful. I don't know why Lyrilisk isn't abusing it for, to be honest. And if they try to do... If they have the Golden Lord in hand and they try to go off with that effect, Featherstorm, like, easiest game of my life. They're not outing this. What is this? Speedroids! You know what? I don't feel like playing against Speedroids today. Let's go ahead and just activate this. I'm not even gonna read. And again, this is such a powerful floodgate. This is actually only activatable from hand if you control a Harpie. But if you control the wind, it's activatable from field. So now no monster effects. Barrier lock, no monsters effects. During the end phase, I flip Trap Trick. I get a second copy of it in case they try to stop me from going lethal with any shenanigans. This is just a full lockout. There's literally like no deck in the game that could deal with this, except Eldritch if they had like an insane back row setup with like multiple torrentials. Go ahead. So now they can special summon, but they can't use abilities. So what's the point? Right? Yo, this deck nasty. I love this deck. This is like the third deck I ever built too. Okay, so they're gonna try to full combo here, and I don't think they read, because a lot of people think that the Feather Storm is just like a negate once. They don't. Yeah, no, they're literally discarding. It's full turn. It's a full blanket effect. Doesn't matter. Graveyard, hand, and field. Every monster is negated. Every single one. Whole turn. And I have a second one for next turn because it is a normal trap. Nobody reads that Featherstorm is just a full-on blanket effect for the whole turn, so I think that they still haven't read. They're going to go ahead and try to XZ summon here into the horse, I forget, into the rank 3 XZ horse, I always forget its name. And they're going to realize it doesn't work. Oh no, they're going Cherubini. Okay, YBA no die. This is fine. I'm just gonna get a second Feather Storm during the end phase, and I'm not gonna play into this. Dude, read! Read! Man, read, homie, read! Cherubini Bobini ain't gonna do nothing against Harpies. Again, really desperately trying to get effects to go off. It's not gonna happen. Yeah. Go ahead. Again, full blanket effect. Whole turn. The card is the card. One of the 2 cards that make Harpie so strong is Simorgh. 3 cards. Simorgh, Barrier Statue, and Featherstorm. This was one of my favorite decks to play in person, but they banned Simorgh last ban list in the TCG, which basically killed Harpies until they get better support, which is such a bummer, because we didn't even get to play like the OCG did with Simorgh and the new Fire Blast Dragon. We just straight up didn't get it. And a Phantom Knight player, bro. He's just gonna full combo. Like, he's gonna, like, non-stop full combo and get every effect negated. Yep, no, they don't read. I promise you, so many of your wins... And Phantom Knight's a good deck. Don't come at me with this, like, I'm playing some rogue decks. I just got unlucky to face, like, Eldritch, but... this card, Featherstorm, is just so gross. Now watch this. During the end phase, flip Trap Trick. You better Ash this. Yep. Banish a Featherstorm. Get a Featherstorm. Game's over. Activate some more. Let's get some card advantage on top of all of this. And if they try to negate this again with an Ash... Oh, they can't even negate it with Ash. Awesome. What am I talking about? We're going to go ahead and grab Perfumer, because this is going to let us use the card to recycle our Harpies. So we're going to grab the in-archetype Pot of Avarice. We could grab Hunting Grounds, alternatively. But I think we want Feather Rest. If we get another Harpie and we can just summon into... Because all the Harpie cards have better effects if you got a level 5. So normally they just cook, now they dazzle. Yeah, no, this is great. So I'm going to go ahead and summon this, just so I could get 2 draws instead. And again, if they try to hit me with a monster effect... Like, this better be a Torrential. This is anything but a Torrential. Like, the game's over. Nah, this puts 1 back. This is good enough. Whatever. That face down's probably a Fogblade, and Fogblade can't even target me. So anything nonsense they try. So now this is gonna grab me 2 cards instead of 1 alternatively. And we're gonna go ahead and put back all of these just so that the Elegant Egotists are alive. Yo, Phantom Knight player, you looking a little scared? You sweating a little bit? Then we're gonna go ahead and chain Cyber Slash effect. We're gonna bounce this, and since it is an extra deck monster, it's just gonna straight up go back to the deck. And even if they try to do any effects, Featherstorm is gonna be a blanket negate for the whole turn. The only downside is we can draw into the Harpie Lady ones. It's not the best hand in the world. There's no shot this is Mirror Force. Imagine like a Mirror Force just to like clown on me. Because Mirror Force would be like the one thing that put them back into the game. Okay, yeah, no, that's fine. I don't care about that. I don't even know what that does, actually. Oh, it just special summons it? Oh, so he's just gonna chump block. Interesting. I could also just banish this. Well, they don't have hand traps, so I'm gonna go ahead and called by here. Because this is also just gonna make it so this card is dead next turn. During my opponent's turn. Yo! Harpies are so gross, man! Man, this deck is so good. The one issue you will have with Harpies, it's not as consistent with other decks, but you will sometimes brick. But this hand is this deck is insane, man. So we're gonna go straight into end phase. Simorgh is gonna proc here, which we're gonna summon it underneath the arrows yet again because it's safer. And now since we control a level 5 or higher Harpie, Perfumer is going to get her better effect, and she's going to draw 2 cards instead of 1. So this lets us grab a live Elegant Egotist, and then this is going to let us grab Hunting Grounds in case they set up back row. So now we don't even have to be scared of back row anymore. Honestly, if I was really smart and I was just playing around, no one's running Mirror Force, but if I was scared of some sort of back row disruption that destroyed monsters without targeting, because I know this is probably a Fog Blade, and they can't target anything under Simorgh. I could have just passed the turn, because, again, I'm going to win. Then next turn, I can even recycle the Elegant Egotist from my graveyard. I'll show later. Okay, so that's a monster effect, and it is their turn, and I don't want to play Yu-Gi-Oh! So I'm going to go ahead and Featherstorm here. So they better have something they could chain, or it's over for them. Blanket Negate, even in the Banish Zone. Blanket Negate. No monsters can be activated this turn. This is already negated from Called by the Grave, so this wasn't super relevant. Surrender time? So, again, this is a matchup where I didn't even rely on Barrier Statue of the Stormwinds, and so it's such a shame that they robbed Harpies, man, from Barrier Statue, but dang, Harpies are sick. Ooh, and I win the coin flip. You know what, Sangan? Go ahead, little buddy. Do a little flip. Hey! Alright, breaking out the new goodies from the new solo mode. Like, oh, what are they gonna do with 3 Harpies? I'll show you what I'm gonna do with 3 Harpies. How about I introduce you to my good friend, Barrier Statue of the Stormwinds. If my opponent's Cyber Dragons, by the way, I just win here. And then after that, I would have a negate on all monster effects. Ignisters! You can't special summon, though. Do any of the Ignisters have over 1,000 attack? I don't think any of the... You're dead! He didn't read? It's over! It's literally over! Like, just like that. Gameplay. Unless I get Ghost Ogred, but that would be insane. I can't get Veilered. It's over! Harpies are so good! Yeah, that Harpie win condition, by the way. Harpie win condition. And that has been the best deck in the game, Harpie Ladies. Thank you for watching. If you made it this far into this video, be sure to drop a like and subscribe, and even a comment down below of anything you'd like to see in the future, or just say anything for the algorithm. It means a lot. I appreciate all of you watching this video. Seriously, it means the world to me how much my channel has popped off. And I really just want to say thanks to everyone. Anyways, this has been Rojas, signing out.